nice of them to leave us a few options. Look out!
А вы что загрелись на меня? Ой, блин. Пока, Анди. Так. Алиф.
Let's look around. There's gotta be a few ways through here.
А я, сука, стрельнул, да? Да ёб твою.
Are you new here?
Да нормально, совсем.
Oh.
Бля. Да, у него и так все есть. Тихо, ну. Ой. Ну шо ты?
Get in there, troops. For Monarch. For Halcyon.
Я не с вами, ребят. Спасибо. Я-то тут при чем? Алло. Ну-ка давай.
Not bad, huh? Try something else. That's the last of them.
Молодец, так сказать. Ай, блядь! Ай, блядь! Пиздец. Да? Заебись.
Guess we're going up.
Чё за дебилы, блядь, выбегают и портят мне всю малину? Нормально, нормально! А чё случилось? Чё? Кто, друган, кто?
Get in there, troops. For Monarch. For Halcyon.
Да ёбаный крот, а! Да блять! Ой, блядь, дружище, ребись, а, блядь. Что за бред? Серьезно, блядь? Да, сука. И хули я вообще скажу с каким-то дерьмом. Да иди ты нахуй своим кодексом.
They're on us.
Чё, блядь? И как мне туда попасть? Анна. Да твою мать. Повстанцы, кто это? Умом забрал. Да нормально все, что ты, блядь, начинаешь. Опа, на нахуй.
I'll be damned. I was prepping the studio for our announcement, and here you are as a bonus. I had heard you'd taken a mechanic under your wing. What's the matter, girl? Couldn't find actual employment?
The captain's treated me right. Better than any of you bored folk ever have. I'm exactly where I want to be.
Ah, and the wayward doctor. Are you about done with your escapades? We have faces that need lifting, after all.
These days, I'm more interested in breaking them. Wouldn't mind taking a swing at yours.
When you go off and get yourself shot, try to avoid taking one to the face. Haven't you heard? Phineas is... It took some doing, but employing an efficient management strategy of putting our gun... Oh, the look on your face. Fantastic. No, he isn't quite there yet. But that's between us. As far as my adoring citizens will know, we've turned a dangerous crackpot into a work... Oh yes, go on, wake them up, add more mouths to feed. That'll solve our... I don't know what half-baked plans that simpleton in a lab coat has been leading you through, but it's done. It's over. Let me ask you something, Captain.
Ты тут такой,
Have you
блядь?
at any point thought about
Тварь.
not fucking up our entire society?
Fucking.
We're helping, which is more than you can say.
I'm making actual progress towards stabilization and recovery. You're just getting in the way. Oh, right. This coming from the psychopathic outlaw. Yes, I'll try to be more...
Иди нахуй.
We don't. I'll admit, there's no shortage of talent and scientists and engineers there. Look, I'm not an unreasonable man. If you manage to storm the castle, as it were, and make it out of here with Phineas alive, I can't exactly afford more havoc than you've already caused. Fine. If you survive, you'll need someone.
Ну чё, собака? Ты кто?
I've got work to do.
Так, нахуй, гринскрин. Так, куда? Шляпа какая-то, и чё, он самый охуевший тип, типа? Кто ты, тварь?
I don't see what the fuss is about a blasted lab coat.
You're really doing this, huh?
Hope you're right about this, Captain.
Чё не так?
Captain, you have an uncanny talent for complicating my life. I don't like being played. When you delivered Wells into my hands, I was operating under the assumption that I'd won your loyalty. You've disrupted the balance of power. You've upset the natural order of things. You've introduced uncertainty, and there is nothing I despise more than uncertainty. I'm afraid I can't do that. You have a flair for subtlety. If you'd worked for me, you would have been the greatest fixer Halcyon has ever seen.
Хуй там.
For all your talents, you are the enemy of Halcyon, and therefore you are my enemy. Dr.
Давайте
Wells is
дальше.
being held in my custody. His cooperation will prove invaluable. All that's left to do is put down this riot, arrest you, and then get all...
Это вредно для вашего
I'm aware of
здоровья.
your propensity for violence. Halcyon is a bloodier place because of you. I take no pleasure in this, you know. I simply have no other option. Leaving you alive is too great a risk. Goodbye, Captain. I had a feeling you'd say that. This prison is equipped with an automechanical warden. I've had it programmed to eliminate you. And don't worry. I will inform Dr. Wells that you died.
Давай, чмо. Давай. Давай, сука, ну давай. Запрограммировал он там. Ну давай, давай, давай. Ты что ли, блядь? А, почему? Это что за хуйня? Ребята, нахуяли? Хуй? А где мои-то? Где девчонки? Стоят девчонки. Сдохни, тварь. Ты где? Ой, блядь! Чё себе? Бля, ой, бля! Ай, тварь! Пизда всему. Ай, мразь. А, нет. Ай, сука! Ну что ты, собака? Ай, блядь. Живучая падла. Да сука, вы откуда беретесь, это собаки ёбаные? Ну что ты? А? Летающая тарелка, понимаю. Ага, нельзя, да, сука? Блять, и ты здесь, что ли? Да ты... Ой, бля, да ну нахуй. Да ну нахуй. Ебаный сыр. Да. На, сука! Ну, сука. На нахуй. Лечимся, девчат. Охуеть, блядь. Там раз еще прыгает. Хуяндок! Ну чё ты, сука? А теперь как тебе... Ой, блядь! Ой, блядь! Сука, живи! Нет. Ебаный скуль, сколько же вас? Ну это все, это жопа. Ёбаный, мой крот. Блять, откуда они нахуй? Вы откуда, ребят? Я вас не звал, идите нахуй. Ой, блядь, оставайтесь здесь, я пошел. А! Это бред какой-то, блядь. Ой, блядь, господи. Здорово. На нахуй. На, сучара! Блядь, где? Кто? Порвать и не умирай, тварь! Ебать, кого ты уничтожила, спасибо. Умирай, сука. Не, ну это тупо фиаско. Ой, блядь. Ребята, вас не дохуя, кстати? Ой, блядь! Тварь, да, блядь? Не, это просто голимая хуета. Что за босс-файт тупорылый? А, сука! Блять, голимый босс-файт вообще просто. Так. Да ёбаный крот. А что она делает-то? Он тоже проверяет диск. Блядь. Что это шлюха делает? Да господи так. Твою-то мать, а, блядь! Ну чё, сука? Пободаемся, а? Тварь, да, блядь? Чё, охуели, а? Ну чё, сука, а? Ой, блядь. Как тебе такое, блядь? Тварь. Да ёбаный крот. А как мне их респнуть, ну? Чё это? Давай. Тварь, да, сука? Ой, блин! Чё это? Да тварь, да? Да суки, и вы тут, да, блядь? Вы что, твари, что ли, вы конченые? Не, ну... Ай, блядь! А, сука! Нет, 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 нет. Хуй вам, хуй, хуй, хуй. Нет, 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 пожалуйста, нет. Господи, да что за хрень-то с вами, а? Вы конченые? Вы школота, вы твари. Ой, блядь, и ты здесь! Иди от меня, пожалуйста, блядь, ты еще здесь! Перезарядись ты уже, господи, наконец-то-то, а! Жопа нахуй квадратная станет. Горит нахуй. Перезарядись. Где? Кто? Братан, не заходи сзади. Только не заходи сзади, пожалуйста. Я вроде их ебошу, но что-то я нихуя не замечаю этого. Это нормально, да? Нормально, да, короче? Ой, блядь. Чё это? Метка, какой-то критический урон. Короче, мне похуй, я все сейчас ёбну. Буду злый день. Блять, ты что-то... Ты что-то делаешь или что, блядь? Что это за хуета это? Я что, блядь, микроволновку взял? Ты... Пиздец. Что это за оружие? Что это? Напугать решил детей, что ли? Что это, блядь, такое сейчас было? Я вообще... Что за... Что это, блядь? Пиздец, я, сука, 3 часа уже с этим гребаным... Ой, господи. Ой, блядь. Чтобы видеть мое жоподрывание от этого говна. Что за бред вообще конченый, последний просто. Всем хай, кстати, еще раз. Ой, блядь, ладно, жопа пусть сгорает, хули. Окей. Окей. На, сука! Ты хоть что-нибудь сделала, мразь? Так, жопа. Ай, блядь! На, сука! Сорвать и живи, тварь! Живи, сука! Блядь, только живи, блядь! Только живи! Не умирай! Умирай, тварь! Только не в мою смену! драку бить, блядь. Да перезарядись ты! Ёбаный ты сыр, нахуй. Я буду прыгать, как стрекозел. Насрать вообще. Как восстанавливать? Это нельзя, да, во время боя? Почему? Ну, такое себе, если честно. 84, 39. В каком дерьме я хожу вообще, блядь? Ну, ясен хер, блядь, 2 раза, нахуй, повысилась с этого броня. Ну, вообще нормально, конечно. О, здорово! Здорово, братан! Пободаемся? Охуенно, да. Я что-то не помню, может, вроде было их восстанавливать раньше. Что-то я такого нахуй не понимаю вообще. Какого хуя я вообще в этом дерьме хожу? 84, блядь! Иди нахуй отсюда. Почему я, твою мать, в этом дерьме вообще хожу? Урон 53, 39, 58, нахуй. А вот это мне нравится, нахуй. Ну, кстати, да, эта оружка прикольная еще. Мне надо вместо этого дерьма, нахуй, поставить. На, сучара! Ой, да ну тебя в очко! Ты что, серьезно уже отъехала? Ты откисла уже? А это было, конечно... Нет. Нет, господи, нет! Да ты куда потратила-то? Охуеть. Как? Ладно. О, 576. Починить. А, можно починить. Починить. Окей. Где дерьмо? Разобрать. Разобрать. Во. хочу. В бою. Как мне им дать оружие? На, бери. Порвать, не умирай, пожалуйста, нужен еще твой твист. Лес. Не умирай, тварь. Окей. На, сука! А нахуй. Да, да ёбаный в рот, ты чё умираешь-то, а? Да, я слышу, ты вздыхаешь, как просто конч. Гнусно, пиздец. Давай твой выход, Джордан. На, сука. Лежать. Тварь. Я слышу. Чего мне тридцатку начала наносить эту хрень? Ич нахрен! Давайте живее, сука! Нет! А вас немного ли, ребят? Перезарядишься, может быть? Здорово. Да умри ты, собака-то серая, ты, а! Ты собака сутулая или кто ты? А ты... Че нахуй перезаряжаться забыл? Не везде просто, они как машкара, сука. Ич нахуй! Ич, сука! Соснули? Было жестко, блядь. Ну чё, сука? Ты орала, ты? Комок дерьма.
You don't know how glad I am to see you. You did the right thing. Akande was a monster. Her death was much deserved and long overdue. And you lunatic, you broke into the board's own fortress just to rescue one doddering old man. You are absolutely out of your mind. And I can't begin to thank you enough. What? Break into the most heavily guarded facility in the most hostile world in Halcyon? No, I have You've broken the board's stranglehold on this colony, and you saved my life. You and I are going to have to work harder than ever to save Halcyon. I'm afraid this... I would like nothing more than to
Я уже
celebrate
открыл
this
кстати.
victory, but we have a serious problem on our hands. Earth has gone dark. We haven't received a single message in 3 years.
Поехали нахуй на...
2 years ago, the Earth's Directorate's frigate disappeared on their way back to Earth.
They haven't exactly been hands-on around here anyway. So there's one less rubber stamp.
Earth is humanity's home planet, Miss Fenhill. The psychological effects of losing...
You mean we're all alone out here? Really alone?
Да ладно ты...
I'm afraid so, Miss Holcomb. Halcyon is the only home we have left. Returning to Earth, we're in serious trouble, my friend. Do you know what this means for Halcyon? We can't rely on Earth for support anymore. We've been cut loose.
Так поехали на Землю.
Yes, we must begin the revival process immediately, starting with the Hope's brightest minds. And then, we're going to need a leader. And I can't imagine a better person for the job than you. What do you say, old friend?
Спасибо, чума. Давай, я уже давно это там понял. Дальше что? Выручишь нас? Да, без
I
бэдбэ.
can't tell you how... When I revived you, I thought we were going... We can't save Halcyon on our own. We're all going to have to pull together, somehow. We are not a colony anymore. Our last connection to Earth has been severed.
Чё случилось?
The OSI teaches that everything in the universe happens according to the grand plan. But the stranger that arrived in Halcyon was an unplanned variable. From the moment he landed in Emerald Vale, his actions altered the course of history. The events on Tartarus brought about the end of the board's authority. But the board's mistakes would haunt the colony for decades to come. The damage they left behind would require the work of a generation to
Это
repair.
финал, типа, или чё?
Dr. Phineas Wells began reviving a handful of the Hope's colonists. Engineers, scientists, technicians, and intellectuals. They were among the brightest minds the Earth had ever sent out into the stars. The Hope scientists and engineers woke up in a colony descending headlong into total collapse. With no way to return to Earth, they had no choice but to band together and devote themselves to the cause of saving Halcyon. The people of Halcyon were nothing if not hardy. In the absence of the board's authority, many of the colony's settlements banded together with a single purpose in mind: survival. Life was especially hard in the years to come. Some towns dissolved by attrition and starvation. But
Нормально
most
все
of
будет.
them found a way to carry on.
Нормально.
In the years to come, Halcyon was forced to reckon with its newfound freedom. The board was gone, and for better or worse, the colony was responsible for its own destiny. As the colony struggled to survive, the inspirational story of the iconoclasts spread like wildfire, and Graham was able to bring many of the smaller Terra-2 townships into the fold. However, his zealous obsession with spreading the word blinded him to the needs of a growing organization, and the movement was unsustainable at scale. The iconoclast way seemed to work best, and ultimately petered out on Monarch. Sublight Salvage adapted to the changes in Halcyon, shifting their business model to suit the times. Their claims of legitimacy were scrutinized, but ultimately unquestioned. Lilia Hagen would continue to protect her family as ruthlessly as ever. The collapse of Edgewater left its workers bereft of any purpose in life. Most of them made their way to Adelaide McDevitt's camp, hoping to ingratiate themselves into her favor. Adelaide accepted only a few to her community. The rest were turned away.
Ну, Fallout там попахивает, где этот игрок сделал такой выбор. Уже не помню, столько прошло, пиздец.
Adelaide McDevitt refused to cooperate with the ongoing effort to save Halcyon from collapse. A sympathetic deserter stole a copy of her research and delivered it to the Hope's scientists. It is unclear how useful Adelaide's research was. An optimistic estimate suggests her work may have bought Halcyon another few years of survival. Adelaide would never know.
Ну,
She
блядь,
died
а
that
чё она
winter.
хотела?
Under the leadership
Что
of
показывать
Julie
их вот этих,
the
блядь.
groundbreaker held firm against corporate
У
influence.
меня же этот эффект
The
нахуй
ship's
зернистости
mechanical
убран.
stability gave Julie the time to educate a promising generation of engineers, schooled in her family's traditions. The future of the groundbreaker looks promising. The rediscovery of the Hope and the abandonment of the lifetime employment program forced Byzantium to come to terms with some uncomfortable realities about the state of Halcyon. While Byzantines were reluctant to
Вы
surrender the
заебали, то вам
luxuries
коллегия
grown
хуёво,
accustomed
то нет
to,
нахуй.
the
Я
board's
за
diminished authority
поправки тогда.
gave them little choice in the matter. Nearly everyone had to learn to make do with less. Some even had to get jobs. It was
Вы сами не можете, что ли, нихуя сделать?
Your influence shifted Ellie's perspective.
О.
She finally admitted, albeit grudgingly, that she just might need other people. Sometimes. With a steady
Писья
income from the life
корабль, на
insurance
большую команду,
payouts,
когда доставила
she
товар
was finally able
приграничное
to afford
поселение.
a
Да,
ship
она
of
даже
her
действовала в
own.
рамках
She
закона.
hired a
Ну
small
да,
crew
она же
and flew supply missions to communities
торрентная
on the
типа.
fringe.
Я
Some
вообще
of
тип.
them were even legal.
Бабы уже не походят на
Life in
баб.
Halcyon was
А если они
sobering for
походят на
Felix
баб, то они
Millstone.
обязательно какие-то лесбиянки.
The grand revolution he dreamed of never came. There was no great awakening for the colony, no celebrations in the streets. There was only the hard, desperate work of trying to repair a broken colony.
Ну, хоть Феликса
Felix
выучил,
never
чем
had a
я.
head for numbers, but if there was labor to be done, he was there to help. Eventually, Felix
А
realized
хули ты, а
that
ты
the work
как
of a
думал, блядь,
revolution
Ленин
was
пришел
done
к власти?
with
Вот
two
так,
hands.
сука.
After all he'd seen and heard adventuring with you, the vicar Maximilian de Soto renounced his faith and joined the effort to rebuild the colony. Ironically, he
Я ему вроде
finally
помогал,
found the
ну там
joy
пару
that had
месяцев
eluded
всего.
him over the course of his life, and realized that perhaps he was always meant to be just a simple laborer after all. He
Ну,
quickly dismissed
этот
Judge.
эффект ебучий, который я убрал.
Though Parvati eventually
Parvati.
grew comfortable aboard the Unreliable, she never quite came out of her shell.
И не надо мне
She
тут
seemed to
нахуй.
prefer the company of Ada to the crew, and she could often be found neck-deep in cables and grease, telling Ada funny stories from her childhood. While the colony fell into chaos, she found an island of relative peace with Ada, and they formed an unusual bond. She decided to remain aboard the Unreliable permanently, as its chief
А ясно,
and
что не
sole
не
engineer.
понял, блядь.
Nyoka returned to Monarch to take another crack at making a permanent life for herself.
Я
She
их
formed
тоже
the
все
Charon
вместе
Group,
с ней
a
прошел.
mercenary outfit of ragtag survivalists and wilderness experts. Anyone in need of a guide or just looking to throw back a beer and swap stories could find her camping on the trail or clearing an infestation.
Нашла свое призвание, жуков
The SAM
убивать.
unit that accompanied you spread awareness of the product line's superior sanitation and maintenance capabilities across what was left of the colony. This led to a boost in SAM
Сэмбл
unit
причем.
sales. Did you know that SAM units are the longest-lasting, toughest-acting cleaning solution in Halcyon? Minister Clark was released from house arrest, and his contact with you gave him a sense of renewed purpose and vigor.
Да, я его не
Once
убил.
it became clear that no help would be coming from Earth, he threw his considerable efforts and talents into helping Halcyon
Блять, я так в
manage
нее
the
долго
crisis
играл,
before it.
кстати, и не думал,
Chairman
что
Rockwell
она так
served as
быстро
the public face
закончится.
for the
Ну, то
changes in
есть,
Halcyon to come.
короче,
Whenever you needed strings pulled or a voice to sell a policy change, Rockwell was only too happy to oblige. As for Dr. Phineas Wells, he spent his remaining years in his orbital lab. Though he was always haunted by the failures of his past, he was determined to make things right by building toward the future. Dr. Wells was able to revive many more scientists and engineers than he first expected, thanks to the additional batch of chemicals you stole from the ministry. Wells never forgot about the human lives that were lost in acquiring these chemicals. The revival project was hard and painful work, but in the end, despite limited resources, over half the Hope's colonists were successfully revived. Even after Wells passed away, the Hope scientists and engineers worked night and day to pull Halcyon from the brink of collapse. Their efforts continue to this day, which may be reason enough for optimism. Dr. Wells laid the groundwork for the project to save the colony, but he would never live to see the fruits of his labor. He passed away a few years later. His work was carried on by the scientists and engineers he revived. Life will never be the same in Halcyon. It is widely agreed that the colony has a chance of stabilizing within a generation, owing to the hard work and determination of the surviving colonists. Recovery is a distant goal, and the path is long and uncertain. But the people of Halcyon carry on, determined as ever. And what about you, the unplanned variable in the history of Halcyon? Long after Wells passed away, you carried on his work with more energy, determination, and brilliance than he could ever muster. The years that followed were hard, but Halcyon survived by the efforts of the Hope's most promising colonists, the greatest of which was you. No one knows what's happened to Earth, and no one knows what the future has in store for Halcyon. All we know for certain is this.
Корабль бесконечности. Имя его бесстрашного капитана. Еще долгие годы будут на устах жителей колонии. Outer World Ends. Окей, неплохо. Скин Крим. Да, сука. Ну все, хули. То есть это все нельзя, да?
Something you need?
Я понял, ладно.